Welcome once again. This is Breakthrough with Jeff, and this is a place we live life with zero limits. Today we are looking at inspired action and how to attract that dream life, that thing that you said, this is the year, this is the time, this is the season. How do you attract that? And this is not woo-woo kind of stuff. This is scientifically proven, stuff. And if you follow and apply it, you will actually manifest. Talking about manifestation here, that which you desire, that which you want to create, to bring into existence. And so it's possible. It's possible to have your dream. It's possible to live it. And so I'll begin by stating this, that science actually can work for you and the universe can work for you. But this only happens when you take inspired action. Now, I work with people that say, they've taken massive action, but nothing has happened. Nothing is happening for them. Everything is working against them. Now, I want you to understand that manifestation and creating your dream life actually works with laws of nature, laws of the universe. And one of the crucial laws is the law of attraction, that you attract who you are, and you cannot force things to be. You allow things to be. There's a doctor by the name Dr. Hawkins who wrote a book, Power versus Force. So you can force things, and there are people that spend a lot of time trying to force things, to push things, instead of working from a place of inspiration, where you're walking as inspired from within, instead of pushing closed doors. Because I've seen this when my clients, when people push against closed doors, the doors remain closed. They never open for them. They never get what they wish for. They never really create that life that they desire. It could be in your relationship, it could be in your finances, it could be in your business, it could be in whatever area that you want to create a goal and manifest your vision. I tell you, there are laws of the universe that you must understand, that when you are in flow, instead of pushing things, instead of forcing things, like you can't force a relationship, you can't force love, you can't force success, you can't push, I know that people who talk about push until something happens. Push until that's okay. But I tell you, that's not the vibration of manifestation. If you want to manifest, the kind of life that you desire, then there are few things that you got to put into perspective. You have to flow. You have to flow. You can't force it. You can't force things. You can't force the relationship. You can't force, people to like you. You can't force them into coming to where you are in terms of your level of personal development. You can't force people. You got to flow. And for you to get to flow, you have to surrender. You got to surrender, surrender to the higher being, surrender to God, to the universe, instead of forcing things. Surrender. So if right now, I know there's that goal that you want to manifest, and in the previous weeks, my team and I have been talking about manifestation, abundance, how you can create abundance into your life, and how you can reframe your mind for abundance. Now, today we are talking about how you can take inspired action. Inspired action, not actions that are you're forcing yourself into. It's inspired action. And inspired action simply means that the action is coming from deep within you. It's not something you're forcing. And for that to happen, for you to take actions that are coming from within, you got to flow. You cannot force, you got to flow. Now, sometimes when you take that advice and just flow and you're not forcing, you think, your mind lies to you that you're losing, that time is flying, that something, you're missing something out. My friend, that's not the case. That is not, it may seem as though you're missing something. It may seem as though, they are leaving you. It may seem as though they are outdoing you. But I tell you, when you learn to take a deep breath and be in the present moment and flow, you will win your battles. You will win even without fighting. You don't need to fight anyone. You just need to flow. You need to flow. Flow with what is within you. What are you inspired to do? What are you inspired? Inspire means in spirit. It means you're in alignment with the universe. You are aligned with God. You are aligned with what is. You are aligned. And the universe is supporting you. You are not alone. And so when you step into that moment of being inspired, of being in spirit, you surrender. You surrender your ego. You surrender wanting to force things to be a certain way. If something is not working the way you thought it should, let it go. If someone leaves you for someone else, let them go. If someone has paid your dowry and tells you I'm no longer interested in you, let them go. Sometimes the universe will use your enemies, people that think they're doing it for evil, to propel you to your destiny. Sometimes God will use your enemies to propel you to your destiny. So don't force people to stay. Don't force people to be, with you when they want to leave. And this is the case for personal relationships, interpersonal relationships, but also business relationships. Because I think we have such a high need for connection that we don't want to be alone. And you feel like, being alone, you cannot afford to be alone because you don't trust you're being, on your own. I tell you, you have to learn to allow things to be. Allow, flow. Let the spirit of flow be with you so you can allow and take only inspired action, not just massive action, just taking action, one action from another, from one action to another. You will burn out. You will lose your faith. You lose faith in you. You lose faith in God. You lose faith in manifestation. But if you flow with inspired action, and I'm talking about what is inspired inwardly from within, you felt the urge to do something, do it. Now, the thing is, the universe loves speed. This world is created for speed. The moment you something is revealed to you, the moment you're inspired to do something, do it in that moment. Don't wait for tomorrow. Make the call. Do the follow up. Post the post. Write the book. Give it the title. Whatever you're inspired to do today, do it today, not tomorrow. Some people, I've heard some of my friends say that they had this brilliant idea and they thought about it and thought about it. And after a week, they saw someone on TV talking about the same idea. and benefiting from the same. Why? The universe does not wait for you. By the time you're inspired in yourself, an idea in your heart, it's already birthed in the universal realm. It's already out there. If you're not ready, someone else will take action, inspired action. They'll be inspired to act on it. And this is why most people, they get an idea, then they see someone tomorrow actually profiting from the idea they got last year because they never acted on it. This world, the systems of the world, reward inspired action. When you're inspired, go for it. Don't wait even a second, even a millisecond. When you're inspired, go for it. When you're not inspired, don't go for it. Wait until you are inspired. Wait until you're inspired, because this is how people lose hope, is how they get into what we call in coaching learned helplessness. You learn to be helpless because you've taken action one after another and there's no result. You never get any result. One action after another, year after year, you're still the same place because you're not taking inspired action. The action is not inspired. You're just taking action. You're just busy. Busy does not equal to business. Busy does not equal to business. Most people are busy and not productive. Never aim to be busy. Aim to be productive. Aim to be resourceful. Aim to create results on the planet. And if that's your goal, then I'm your guy. Because my belief is that inspired action always leads to results. If you take inspired action, you will create results. Those results will give you what? Self-confidence. Because as long as you're getting results, you'll have confidence in yourself and say, wow, I can do that. I did it yesterday. It's like David in the Bible. He says, because I killed, the lion, I can kill this giant that stands before me. Because I killed the bear, I can kill, this enemy of God. And so it's you to begin to train your mind. Remember, we said in the session previously here, in this show, that the mind only works with what is familiar. The mind will resist the unfamiliar and work only with what is familiar. And that is why all of us need a coach, because a coach helps you to make the goal that you desire familiar, to make success familiar, to make love familiar, to make greatness, desiring to be great familiar. Some of us, that's not familiar. What is familiar is shame. Some of us, all we know is shame. In fact, when you are not ashamed, we feel you are not ourselves. Some of us, what is familiar is losing. We always losing things, losing family members, that is what is familiar in our world. There are people, I know that every story they tell you is a story of loss. I have lost this and that and that. And they don't seem to be aware that something is out of control. Something is out of alignment. Okay? And most of the time you want to blame Satan, blame God, blame the universe, blame people, blame situations. But let me tell you, the moment you take personal responsibility and realize the way your world is operating is because of the way your inner world is working. The way your outer world is operating is a result of the way your inner world is operating. And so the operating system of your destiny is your inner world, the world of emotions, the world of thoughts. If you don't change your thinking, nothing will change. And you cannot force things to change externally when internally you're not changing. This is what I see with people. They're spending so much resources trying to change external world. Someone builds a beautiful, house, they marry beautiful spouse. They are trying to change external world, thinking that when they do, then they'll be happy. And you realize you have the beautiful spouse, you have beautiful house, you even move to a beautiful city, but you're still depressed, you are still lonely, you are still feeling as though no one cares about you. It's because of this. And master this. Listen, if you get this, I'm telling you, you master everything. The biggest change, the biggest change is not external, it's internal, is within you. And the only thing that you're required to change is the world of your thinking, the world of your thoughts, the world of your emotions. Once you shift that and align it to what you want, not what you don't want, because of lack of inspired action, we are always pushing against what we don't want. So if you ask someone, what are your dreams? They say, I don't want to be poor. That's my dream. No, 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 no. I'm not asking you what you don't want. Tell me, what do you want? What is it that you want? What can I do for you? What can the universe, every single day when we wake up in the morning, the universe is asking you, what can I do for you? And most of us, we work against that flow, because the universe is always in flow, is always wanting to assist you to get what you want. And remember, we said here that the mind is always giving you what it thinks you want. And the mind is the first portion of the universe. Is that it works with the universal existence, it works with God. The part of the mind of God is inside of you. And so the mind is always asking what you want, what's your will, what do you want? What is it that you want? And so it gives you what it thinks you want. Let me give you an example. Let's say you've gone through a breakup. It's a bad breakup. You've fallen in love with this person. It's so sweet in the beginning, and all of a sudden they leave you by the roadside. They leave you, at the junction of the road signs before it turns green. They leave you there. And at that moment, you tell yourself, I will never again want to get married to someone like that. Your mind registers that relationship, love equals to pain. So what happens is your mind will always push you away from ever falling in love, because it thinks that's what you want. You don't want to fall in love because you don't want to be in pain. You see, the mind is created to keep you away from pain. And so if you've had this relationship that hurt you so much, your brain will try to keep you away. And that's why every time you try to get into a relationship, your mind brings up a way to mess up that relationship so you can stay single, so you can, remain single, so you can remain without love, because this is what your mind thinks you're doing. Okay, this is what it thinks you want. Welcome, Coach Ogo. Welcome,
Thank you.
welcome. Welcome. We're talking about inspired action. Taking inspired action. You're so welcome. How was your week, Coach? Please say
Great,
hi
thank you.
and
Hello,
good to see
everyone.
you.
Good to see you
Awesome. Let's continue. Today
too.
we flow. So I was sharing with our guys here, with our viewers, the fact that um, taking inspired action calls us to surrender our ego, that things have to be a certain way. And I also shared the fact that at any moment when we desire to manifest something, that letting go and allowing and flowing is key. And you got to learn to listen within yourself and hear what is the inspired action, what is the action that is inspired. And so I don't know what you can say, about that. You can bring about your insight about inspired action, and then we can follow in the conversation. Karibu sana. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Master Jeff, Coach Jeff. Inspired action is it's something that comes from within.
Mhm,
It's something that we can't explain it, but it keeps pushing you beyond the normal. You are
mm,
not your real self. You find that you start making out unusual sacrifices. You
mm,
push yourself, you see yourself, because I think basically inspired action comes with a lot of passion and inspiration.
mhm,
It has to do with our vision, our dream. Because when you have a dream and a vision that is larger than you,
mhm.
nobody will wake you up in the morning to say it's 5 a.m. wake up. you
Yeah.
know so it depends in any realm, whether it is business, whether it is family, whether it is parenting, whatever it is. There's something that keeps pushing you beyond your normal.
Mm,
So
mm,
once
mm.
it's time you wake up, nobody is reminding you you have to do this. You push at whatever you have to do, because
Yeah.
your world is waiting for you. The world is waiting for you to manifest. And inspired action is what brings our manifestation.
That's
So
true.
without, and you never know how far one can manifest until you try. That's why
Yes.
inspired action is really very important. And
Yeah.
it's just something that you catch. I don't know how it happens, but you just get it.
From within. From
So
within.
once you get it, it clicks and
Yeah.
you push on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Coach, thank you for sharing that, because I realize the opposite of inspired action and really, flowing with what is within you is forcing things, like just pushing. And I was sharing about power versus force. Like you're forcing something to be a certain way. Let's say you are
Mm,
starting even a ministry, or you're starting a business, or you're starting a course that you're doing. There are people who force things to be what they thought about in their head. This is the way it's going to be. And you see, inspired action works with flow. It doesn't work with force, like you're pushing things. And I see it also in relationships, that people are forcing things to be instead of just being inspired. You will know the right moment to propose to that girl. There's always a right moment. And others are forcing others to make choices that are not within their timing. Maybe we can talk about that. People that force things and push against the wall instead of, finding what is that inspiration within me? What am I inspired to do, and flowing with that?
mm.
Maybe you can comment on that, Coach.
Okay, thank you. Once people have to get to the level whereby they find their vision and
Hmm.
their purpose for life, their dream.
Yeah.
And if they've not found it, everything is being it's been you compel them. It's just,
Hmm.
let me give you
Hmm.
an example. I love family, I love children, I love
Yeah.
things that has to do with the home. Okay, for
Yes.
example,
Hmm.
now motherhood. Before I got into the level of motherhood, I looked at myself because I was working in the corporate world. I was doing logistics. I was doing logistics procurement in an oil and
Hmm.
gas firm for
Yeah.
LLNG Train 8 project. So when I
Mm.
got the job, I was enjoying that. But when I came into the family space,
Yeah.
everything about me changed, because I
Yes.
found out that I'm now in another world. I started seeing areas of sacrifice in the
Mm.
area, in the
Mm.
aspect of my husband. I started putting priority to my
Mm.
husband. I started
Mm.
putting priority when the children came. I started putting priority to the children as well. So
Yeah.
I found out that that inspiration just came from me naturally, with purpose, intentionality, and of course with my dream and my vision, because some people call it dream, some people call it vision.
Vision.
So
Yes.
you sit down and ask yourself, why am I going into this and why am I going into that? So from
Yeah.
there, everything about me, my choices, my sacrifices, my discipline, everything changed. And with
Wow.
that, yes, and without all of this inspired action, the manifestation is always very low. You won't get minimal, you will get very low results. But once
Yes.
you walk into that inner realm, when you start
Yeah.
taking things that is your dream, your vision is higher than you find out that you start walking in incredible realms beyond you. And you start asking yourself, I never knew I could do as much as this, but it's not even you. It's
Mm.
the spirit of God within that
Yes.
shows you that you have even more, and there's still so much more for me to do in my world that I need to discover. So this is just one aspect, so nobody
Mm.
tells me to wake up in the morning by 5 a.m. to start
Yeah.
getting them ready for school, for example, or to
Yeah.
prepare breakfast, or to do
Yeah.
one thing or the other, because it's
Yeah.
intentionality. I'm trying to leave a legacy. So those are the
Yeah.
things. Inspired action. It's not
Mm.
motivation, because motivation, after a while, it can be short-lived. It can
Yes.
fizzle out. It can
Yes.
expire, because motivation is like the spur of the moment. You're motivated and you say, okay, now I want to go to the gym, or now I want to do this. But once it comes from that thing inside, the inner voice, the inner man,
Yeah. Yeah.
you will just keep flowing with how the inner voice tells you. If it says go like this, you go. If it says do like this, and you find
That's,
out it becomes positive
yeah.
result. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing, coach, because I realize many people don't know how to connect to that inner voice. Like that, this is where people have a challenge. How do I connect to that inner voice and be inspired? Because inspired actually comes from the word in spirit. Okay. And so inspired is like connecting to that voice of God within. And this is where people have challenge. We are so stuck in our heads, we actually don't know the world of the inner self. We don't know that spirit within. Someone said that people die at age 25, but they are never buried until they are 60, and they are so people are walking dead because we have no sense of connecting to our soul. And maybe you can touch on that. How do we connect with that inner self? Because I feel that is where the power is. If you don't know how, how do I connect with that inner self? How do I listen? How do I know the right moment? Because inspiration is in the right moment. It's not tomorrow. It's not yesterday. It's in the now. If you miss it, you miss it. How do people connect, with their inner self and learn, to hear that voice within? Because I think that's important, coach.
Okay, it's in the place of calmness and quietness, in the place of that being alone. And in that place of being alone, you now want to connect with the higher power. I connect with God.
Yeah.
That is my higher power, the supernatural. Because
Yes.
I know working as a human, I can't do as much as I would do without connecting with God. So how
True.
people do it without God, I really don't know. So I
Yeah.
know I have Almighty God who is my connector and takes me into the higher realm, that
Mm,
gives me the steps I need to take on a daily basis. So I keep connecting in the place of prayers, in the place of studying
mm,
of the word. I study the
mm.
word like the Bible. When you take something and you say, okay, like God will do exceeding abundantly above all I can ask for things. I just sit on that word and I say, God, if you really say this, I want to manifest in this realm. Then I
Yes.
start seeing little areas, because sometimes people are looking for the very big things. And the
Yes.
little things are the ones that end up to sum up the big things.
Becoming
So,
big.
yes. So I said, in
Yeah.
this little area, in my thoughts, in my words, in my actions, let it all be to glorify you.
Yeah.
So once I started that, then another place again where I get that inner stuff is in service. When
Mm-hmm.
I started working, because one of the things I enjoy doing is going to orphanages. I've always loved it. So I got, myself and my husband and our children, we started enjoying going to orphanages, whereby we go, we see the less privileged, we see how people face issues of life. Then we started
Yeah.
enjoying being around those kind of environments. So it started getting me into the bigger picture, enjoying the bigger things, being grateful for what God has done for me from step by step. So all this accumulative. So once you now connect with God, you will now find out that there are steps that God will take you through as you yield, wholeheartedly to Him. He starts telling you what to do, how to do, when to do. That's how it
And
is.
that's the inspiration. That's the
That is
inspiration. is
That
that
is
God is speaking through us. And when you're talking about a complete human being, is one who is connected to their creator. And so you're open, your ears are open to actually the inspiration. And it's interesting you're saying this, Coach. Let me just read for you my devotion. This was yesterday, Psalms 16:11, and this is what it says. I'll read for you. I just write my notes of devotion every morning. You will show me the path of life. In your presence is fullness of joy. In your right hand there are pleasures forevermore.
my
Oh,
favorite
deep
scripture.
stuff. Deep stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. When I read that, I'm like, oh my God. So, Lord, let me sense your presence. Like everywhere, I want to know that it's not just my human mind that is at work here. I am inspired, I am in spirit. There's a spirit of God working through me in my coaching, in my speaking. When I'm invited to speak, I want to get into the spirit. I don't want to speak my limited thinking into people's lives. And when we are doing a show like this, before we begin, I'm saying, Lord, let your will be done. Use us as your vessels. And so is that presence of God that is a desire for every moment. Because I know when you're speaking, when you're living, when you're doing things from that place of being, you are touching the world. You are healing the world in a big way. And so thank you, Coach, for bringing that out. So guys, we're talking about you connecting with your inner world, connecting with the world of spirit. You can be inspired. You can be in spirit, so that there's that force of God inside of you that tells you this is the moment. Apply for that job. Some of us, we are not smart. We're not so smart. No. It's that we are guided. We are guided by a higher power. We are not alone. So when you see us, we are supported. There's a kingdom that supports us. And this is not unique for us. It's not just for Coach Ogo and I. It's for all of us as children of God. The life we are living was fashioned to be lived successfully in a certain way, to be aligned with the universal law. There are laws of the universe, the law of first things. As long as you put the first things first, everything else will be a blessing. Put ye first the kingdom of God, the joy, the peace, the being in alignment with God, and you realize you're not missing it. You never miss your moment. You become like that tree planted by the streams of water that bears its fruit in season. Now, Coach, what stops people from being, from alignment, from being inspired on a daily basis? What is it that stops us? Maybe we can have a conversation. I can see we have a few minutes to go. What is it that stops most people from accessing that connection, with the spirit within? What is that stops us?
Okay. There are a couple of things. It's not limited to. I can just say a few.
Yeah.
One of them is lack of dream, which is vision, lack of purpose.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
not being intentional, not looking deeply, because
Yeah.
everything
I
we do,
like
we're not
that.
conscious, being present. These are the things that actually causes that lack of inspired action. Procrastination as well, laziness in some part, in some form. Because actually, for us to manifest, there's a part where we have to work, there's a God factor, and there's a
Yes.
part where God has to work. So when
Yes.
you get inspiration, God will expect us now, move. I
Take
want
action.
you to take action.
Yes.
He has given it to you, so take action. Try this, do this, and that. So those
Yeah.
are the things. So when people, like the Bible say, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So when they are knowledgeable, the awareness to know that, why are you living life randomly? No, you know, you may be good in some particular areas, but some people have not even found out their purpose, their giftings, their talents,
True.
what is resident inside them. They don't understand that there's so much they have within, to give their world. So until they come to that place of realization and awareness, that's also those things will never get them to that place of inspired action. Then
Yeah.
when they see they want to bring change, they want to impact. So when you look at your life, it's like a life of impact. You want to impact your world. Oh
Mm.
my, you will take inspired action. Nobody's
Yeah.
going to tell you. Because when you look
Yeah.
at, let's say, family, for example, you say,
Mm-hmm.
like a father, you will now say, okay, what do I do next to push on
Mm.
my family?
Mm.
What do I need to do
Mm.
next to push on, to help, to support my wife? The wife looks, how do I need to be a helpmeet to my husband so that the blessings start
Mm.
flowing? Then the
Mm.
children will now see accordingly that the father, the mother, they're working in the purpose of God. Then they start aligning as well. They
Mm.
start
Mm.
obeying as we train them. So all of these things are so important. And this is what brings society together, because family is society and society is family. So we
That's
are
right.
all part of a family that has accumulated to society. So once we
Mm.
start with the little actions, sometimes we may not do those very big things. Sometimes we also may have missed some steps,
Mm. Mm.
but
Mm.
we jack up again. We say, God, you have a purpose for my life, and I decide to walk in that purpose. Then we keep affirming, things are working according to your purpose. Lord, I receive it, and I walk
Mm.
in that
Mm.
purpose you have
Mm.
created for me.
Mm.
I don't want
Mm.
to walk in the purpose of another man. That
Yeah.
purpose you have for me, Father, let me
Yes.
live it. So the fullness,
Yes.
and let me manifest it. And that's it. So with that,
Mm.
we will manifest in
Mm.
incredible ways.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow, awesome. Thank you so much, Coach Ogo. And guys, we are talking about inspired action and the power of aligning yourself with what is. Let me see. There's someone here saying that Isioma is saying the God factor is very important to achievement in life, but humans have to play their part as well. And that's what Coach Ogo is saying, that there's a part of God, but immediately you're inspired. Oh, take that
Move.
action, move. And Coach, I was telling people here that there are people that were given an idea by God, and they waited for a week, and the next week they see someone on TV launching the same idea and profiting from it because they were not obedient to the inspiration within them. So it's not that God is not inspiring us. It's not that we are not inspired. We actually are. Some of us are just afraid. And that's another thing that stops us from really unleashing our potential is fear. Fear. You're just afraid. Some of us, we know what to do. We are inspired. And the Spirit of God is always telling you, apply, go for it, go for that job, move. This is the moment. Do the proposal, download that document, go see that person, go meet at that place. But we hold ourselves because of fear. For how long? For how long? What is it costing you to actually allow fear to take your life, to take your destiny? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? The thing you're afraid, for right now. And perhaps, Coach, we can talk about that. How do we overcome fear? Because I know the Bible says God has not given you the spirit of fear. That it's not something we were not given. So how come almost 90% of our inaction is because of fear? We are afraid. And it's amazing, if you do the research, you realize there are actually even people who are scared of success. And the
Mm.
reason they don't take inspired action is they think they will succeed. That's why they don't take action. They're like, oh my God, if I take action, I will succeed. So I better not take action. Okay.
Mm. Mm.
How can we help people to overcome this giant of fear? Like just being afraid to take that action, because most of us are inspired. I know God has done his work.
Mm.
The part of us, the part of the equation, because there's a part of God, like as Sioma is saying here, there's a part of God, there's a part of us. God has already done his job. He has inspired us. At each moment, God is there present, inspiring you, but we don't take action because we are afraid. please, how can we take action, especially those of us who are afraid?
Okay, one of the things that actually stops a lot of people for doing great things, there's so much noise in this world. There are too many noises. The world is full of noise. So one of the things we have to look at is we have to um, debunk. We have to kill that part of listening to what people have to say, because many people want to flow with the world style. Everyone wants to. Oh, they said I can't. Who said? When God hasn't said.
Mm,
So
mm,
affirmation
mm,
and
mm.
breaking loose. Sometimes faith is doing the most stupid things. That is what faith
Mm.
is. Faith is
Yes.
you don't know where the stairs is going, but you just keep climbing. Just
Yeah.
go. Just
Yeah.
go. That's faith.
Yeah.
Meaning
As
you
long as
never
you're
know.
inspired, go for it.
Just go. You never
Yeah.
just go. So
Mm.
apart from fear, a lot of people like to listen to what people are saying. The world has lots of noise, too
Yes.
many noises, and those
Mm.
noises will never keep us sane and settled, because the noise, that is
Mm.
part of what brings fear. The noise, we
Mm.
hear lots of war, rumors of war, and so many things. The noise brings the fear. The word, the voice of the word brings self-doubt, and it brings that thing of being incapable. But once we are
Mm.
shaped by the word, you keep holding the word. Sometimes it's not like the faith, we don't shake, but we keep saying it, we keep declaring it. I can do all things. You say it loud, you break through it, you drive, in the car, anywhere, in the supermarket, you keep saying it. I know
Yeah.
I am more born to win. I
Mm.
know I am
Mm.
born to win. I
Mm.
am more than
Mm.
conqueror.
Yeah.
Sometimes the devil wants to play tricks and bring some things to make you shut your mouth. No, don't keep quiet. We keep saying it. Like they say, a
Yes.
closed mouth is a closed destiny. So my
Mm.
life is
Mm.
attracting all the good things. I keep saying it. My God is hearing. The
Mm.
devil is hearing. The
Mm.
universe is hearing. We
Mm.
just keep saying it, and of course, walking in righteousness, doing the right thing. Because
Mm.
some of the things that
Mm.
actually affect some of these things is when you do the wrong things, when you're not
Yes.
walking in line with the purpose of God. So that's
Mm.
when some of those things, happen and you break out. But once you're working with the covenant, in fact, I call it the covenant. That's the covenant with God.
Mm.
Once you work in the covenant, like I tell some of my clients when they go through issues with their children, I say, as long as this child is dedicated to God, this child cannot be lost. This child has been
Mm.
dedicated to God.
Mm.
Keep saying it, keep
Mm.
declaring it,
Mm.
and that
Mm.
child cannot be lost. I remember
Mm.
the testimony of one of our winners pastors. He said when he was growing up, he of course with friends, he moved on and started taking drugs, marijuana, and all that. But when he was doing that with his gang, and he was in with gangs and all that. But in that setting, he was always telling a voice, an inner voice was always telling him, "You're better than this. What are you doing here? What are
Yeah.
you doing here?" Now he's a
Mm.
large pastor doing great things for
Mm.
God. And
Mm.
he's doing brutal things, brutal things, doing great things for
Mm.
God, because he's been
Awesome.
on the other side. So being working for God now, he has donated himself totally. So
Wow. Wow. So, wow, guys, as you listen to this, where are you at? Which action, which inspired action? What is it that has been put in your heart and you're still seated on it? What idea? What book title? What relationship? What business idea? You're still seated on it because you're convincing yourself that you're not good enough, that you don't deserve, that you're not the person. Instead, like Coach Ogo is saying, change that story. All of us, we have a story, and most of these stories are limiting stories. The story that, no, it's not for me, none in my family has ever done this. You can change your story. And I tell people this, that you can command your mind to go to the direction of your destiny. Sometimes the stories are so locked in your head. If you let them lead, you'll always go, in the path that is against your destiny. You already are aware where you want to go. Command your mind. Tell your mind, this is where we are going. Lead from the soul. Lead from the spirit. Sometimes I speak to the mind and say, we are strong enough to take this mountain. This is the time. This is the moment now. I don't let even my body, I don't let it lead me, to be the one that decides, oh, today I'm sleepy, let me sleep. No, I say, let's go, we go. I say, go, we go. The body serves my soul. The soul has to lead. The spirit has to lead so that you are inspired. Whatever you're inspired, go for it. Don't take time. Go for it. So let's have closing remarks here, Coach Ogo. The final remarks you can tell people. I mean, we are in that place. We talked about this month. We talked about abundance, and we talked about how to unleash that abundance. We talked about reframing our mindset, and now we are talking about taking inspired action, not just any action, taking inspired action. What is your closing remarks today?
Inspired actions actually establishes our habits. And our habits is what it ends up to be our totality. Because what we repeatedly do, we become. So we must look intently and see what is it that I am doing now that is not an inspired action that I need to change. And once you change it and start repeating the new found, because you have to change the old pattern to the new pattern. So you now find a new found inspired action, not just any action. Because the inspired action is what brings the result. That's what brings the manifestation. So we must change in areas. There are some areas we may be living so high, very well, and the ones that are not serving us, not very good. We need to change to that inspired action. Of course, there are tools, as coaches, there are tools that you can also use. And that's why we are here. We are coaches. We are here to serve. We coaches, we can actually help you with the tools, to navigate your way into that inspired action. And you also have to explore and identify your life's purpose. To explore and identify, because once you are able to explore and identify your life's purpose, then it becomes easier, to work in that inspired action. Let's give an example so that we are not pushing you. So if you come as a client to us as a master coach Jeff, you're not being pushed to say, have you taken this step? Haven't you taken this step? No, that way it will bring the required result to move you to your next level. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Coach Ogo. It's always a pleasure having you here. And guys, we want to give greetings for Coach Dr. Akoth and Coach Mary. We will see them in the next session. And thank you so much, Coach Ogo, for joining me in this great conversation, because this is the core. This is like the pillar of manifestation. This is what makes the difference in people's lives is, are you in tune with the force of God that is trying to support you? The world, the universe is working for you, not against you. People think, in this is such a wicked world, so everything is working against me. If you believe that, then things will be so hard for you. I want you to know that God is actually working in ways to support you to win. And the universe is rooting for you. As long as you are open to work with what is, the voice of God within you is working for you and is rooting for you. You are not alone. You're not alone, even though you may feel lonely right now. There's a presence of God that is warmer than the presence of a brother. And so when you can cultivate that relationship with your creator within you, I encourage you. I'm known as a coach that works with business, intellectual people in the corporate world to help them access their true power. People that have achieved so much, they realize achievement was not the highest level of living. There's something called fulfillment. I work with those people that touch the world, the people that we think they are, our role models. And when I work with them, I guide them, to this path of solidness where you can connect with your creator and live the life as you were born to live. Like Coach Ogo is saying, you live your true purpose, your true mission. And that is my prayer. My prayer is, because you listened this far, that you will not die with your life unleashed, with your life still stuck inside of you. You'll not die with your, song inside of you, with your book, because you are afraid, because you never believed that you're somebody. My prayer is that you don't allow your past to rule your future. My prayer is that you begin to believe in the possibilities of this new life, of this new story. And it's only possible when you believe in the original script that you are created to be. You're created to be great. And that greatness is not lost. You might be lost yourself, but that greatness is still there, locked inside of you. And I pray that you unleash it. How? Inspired action. Begin to listen from within. Get a coach that can train you. Some of us need training to learn how to listen to the voice within us, to know what is the right thing to do. What is the right? Some of us here, we've been waiting to make decisions. When you learn to take inspired action, decision making is so easy because you just know. There's that inner knowing. And then when you connect with inner knowing, there's something else we call synchronicity. God designed you to meet the right person at the right time.
True.
And I'm sure you've ever done this. When you're in alignment with God, you realize that you're meeting the right people at the right time. You're not struggling. You're not pushing. It's not egoistic. It's something you're flowing into. And that's what we pray, our prayer today. So God bless you, people, and live a life of mission, of purpose. Live a life of unlimited potential because you can from this moment. God bless. Goodbye.
God bless. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.